Hi, Jim Stanley here with SKF, bringing you another SKF Tech Tip. In this video, Joe Esmore and I will show you how to use the TKSA 31 wired laser shaft alignment system from SKF. So now let's take a look inside the box of a TKSA 31 and see what comes inside.
I'm going to go ahead and go over what comes with the TKSA 31 in the carrying case. And basically, as you can see, it's a pretty robust case. It's got compartments for all the different components that come with the TKSA 31. The first thing being the display unit. Again, the display unit's very rugged. Touchscreen pad, little off and on button here. The TKSA 31 is a rechargeable unit, so it's recharged through the back here with a, you just plug, it plugs into a 110 volt outlet, then you just plug into the back via this cable. Then you have USB to micro USB cables that you plug the USBs in the back of the display unit. The micro USBs go into the lasers of the two laser units, and that's how these are charged. And you have about an 8 to 12 hour battery life with these. So with the display unit, so it's got and it's also IP65. And basically what that means, it's semi-waterproof, so you don't want to submerge it, but you know, it can take a little bit of the elements, and it's a pretty rugged sealed unit. If you look at the laser detector heads, you have one for the mobile machine, and they're marked with a large M and a large S, so it makes it pretty easy. You have the brackets. The brackets are attached to the shafts via chains, okay? Very, very simple. It's a very good connection with the shaft, very solid. There's also chain extensions available to get over larger couplings. It actually comes with a couple extra rods for the brackets that screw right into the ends to get you over a larger coupling, but you can also get additional rods to even get up higher. And as I said earlier, same thing with the chains. You can get extension rods to get up higher with that. It also comes with a little tape measure, so you can go ahead and take your basic measurements to do your alignment. So again, everything's included with it. Very simple, very easy. It's all compact in the case. And basically that's everything that comes with the TKSA 31.
Okay, so I've got a TKSA 31 display unit here on the counter. I just want to go over this in some detail before we go on to the alignment video. The TKSA 31 and the TKSA 41 use the exact same display units. They look identical. The only way you're going to be able to tell the difference is here on the back side, right? Actually on the label itself, SKF Shaft Alignment Tool TKSA 31 versus TKSA 41, right? The body is identical, right? Here, this is a 31. It does not have a camera, but the 41 does. So this is the camera lens on the 41 model, right? Other than that, these units are identical on the outside, even as far as connections, right? So at the top here, we have our USB power plugs, right? These go USB to micro USB. USB on the display unit. This display unit powers the lasers on the TKSA 31. The other end of the USB is a micro USB. That's actually what plugs into the laser heads. Also the power port for the charger, and then this is a service only USB port, micro USB port. This is only used for service. It has no function at all during alignment. So also this is where you would put your USB memory stick to export reports out of this device, right? To export a report to email to a customer or what have you. So always keep this closed up back here. You want to keep everything out of those connections, keep the electronics clean. Down here on the bottom is the power button, same exact location. So we're going to go ahead and power that on. You'll notice I'm going to put my thumb on that, right? But I'm just going to touch it quick, and you'll notice the unit powers on. I'm going to go ahead and zoom this camera in a little bit better to get a little more up close on the display. So this is the usual startup. Same exact view as the 41 here on the 31. All right, so here we are at the home screen for the TKSA 31, right? You'll notice that the new alignment bar here is grayed out. It won't do anything, right? It's non-functioning. This is touchscreen, by the way. You can also set this unit like this, right? Set this unit like this, and the display will rotate. So it allows you to see this unit versus laying this unit down like this, right? Typically like that. If you're doing the alignment, you could have this unit set like this, right, and be able to see the screen from a couple feet away. A little easier to use, so it gives you some versatility there. All right, so when we look at going from, we'll just go clockwise, right? New alignment, when we connect our two laser heads in via the USB ports here on the back of the unit, then this will actually pop up blue, right? The stationary and movable machines, you'll see the little USB connection come up here next to both the S and the M display units. You'll see that little connection there, and this will be blue. Going around the display, machinery library, as you create reports and you give a machine, when you're doing an alignment and create a report and you give that machine an ID, this is where they will be housed, right? So you'll end up building an equipment list of machines that you have aligned. So you can come to this machinery library, find the machine that you're going to align, and it has all the data already in there for it. So to get out of this screen, this is a brand new display, so there's nothing in here, right? So to get out of this, you come up here to the top left, hit the SKF icon, and then hit quit, right? So that's the machine library. Tutorial down here on the right-hand side, there's a full tutorial in the memory of this device. So anything that you need to know how to do or learn how to do or freshen up on how to do it is in the tutorial. Settings, this is where you can change some of the things and features and benefits of the display. Of course, users, there are no users, brand new unit, right? But you can have several users in this so that if you have 7 people doing alignments in your facility, you can have 7 people have different user IDs. That way you know who did the actual alignment. Measurement settings in here. These are some good settings to look at and change. Soft foot check, you always want to confirm soft foot. You always want to check soft foot when you do an alignment, because if you don't check for soft foot and you have a soft foot, it will change the alignment, right? You're going to have the possibility of changing your alignment when you bolt everything down and torque it to spec, right? So you'll always want to keep that on. It's currently off because this is a brand new unit. Verify alignment, it's always good to verify once you've done an alignment to run back through and double check to make sure that everything's right? It's always good to have that on to verify your alignment. It's currently off. You can also, instead of having it on, you can also use the ask function, right, for both soft foot and verify alignment. And so when you get to the point when you start to do the alignment, it's going to say, hey, do you want to check soft foot? That's the ask function. On, it's going to automatically prompt you to check soft foot, and you're going to have to go through the steps of checking soft foot. Verify alignment, same exact thing. So put those back to off. And then auto measurement, when you turn auto measurement on, this basically allows you to do hands-free. When you're taking the laser heads from 3 o'clock to 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock, taking those measurements, when you get to that position, instead of having to hit the arrow key on the screen to take the measurement, when you get to that position, 3, 9, 12, whatever, and you stop moving the laser heads, you'll see on the screen, it'll actually pop up 3, 2, 1. You're going to see that later in the alignment video. We actually have this set up for auto measurement, so you'll see that function. If you're doing an alignment by yourself, it's actually pretty helpful. So we'll shut that back off, get out of this. Display unit, this is actually the display unit info. It shows you what the model type is, the operating system version, the serial number, all that kind of information is here on the display. We don't have measuring units hooked to it, so it's not reading those their information off of them. But if they were connected to this unit, you would find their information under the measuring unit. Language. All right, it's preset to English, but you can pick several languages other than English. Units of measure, right, English or metric. Currently default always set to metric. We change that here in the US. We always change that to English. Go ahead and hit X out of there. Date and clock. This is a brand new display, so I'm not going to change the date and time, but this is where you would set the date and time for the display unit. And then general settings, a couple things in here. Screen beeps. You notice when I was touching the screen, there was no beeps. So let me just click that on for a second, come back out of there, and now listen. Right, so it kind of confirms that you're actually touching it. I'm going to go back in there and shut that off, but that's what screen beeps is. Confirm delete, that's always good to have on. Checks and balances before you actually delete something. So if you're in a report and you accidentally hit the trash can, If you don't have confirm delete on, that's a goner, right? It's gone, no recovering it. So keep that on, and then the S&M readings will be on when you plug them in, and then the database, you don't need, that's for service, so you don't need to worry about that. We'll click out of here on X. Also brightness, if you want to change the screen brightness, down here on the bottom, you can touch and control the brightness on the display itself, right? It comes from the factory full bright. Of course, you know, there's somewhere in the range of 8 to 12 hours of battery life on these displays. The brighter you have this screen, the more battery power it's going to take. So only use the brightness that you need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get out of this. X out, come back to the home screen. Right, so now we're back on the home screen. Okay, much like the machinery library, this is a brand new display unit, so we have no reports in there, so there's no machines saved in here. There's also no reports saved in here, but if we had our reports, this is where they would be saved, in that report box. Right, you'll notice across the bottom here, this is a view, so if you want to view a report, you click on it, view it. You can also edit it, delete it, or export it to a USB memory stick. Right, you can take a report, take a USB memory stick, put it into either port here on the back of the display. It doesn't matter which one you put it in. And then you can take and export reports one by one to that memory stick. So that's how you export these out so that you can email them or what have you. So we have no reports in here right now, so we're going to go ahead and hit the SKF logo up here again to get out of here. And now we're back at the home screen. Okay, a common mistake that many people make, the power button down here on the bottom of the display unit, right? Many people will just touch that. Right? And the screen goes black and they think they've powered this unit down. They have not. This thing is only in sleep mode and it continues to consume the battery. So they'll put the unit in sleep mode, put it back into the case, put it on the shelf, and come back in 2 weeks and try to do an alignment, and they'll find that the display unit is dead, right? And they'll have to recharge it. So that mode, it's always powered on quickly with one. This is how you know it was in sleep mode. When it doesn't go to that start screen, when it starts up in this home screen, you know you only had it in sleep mode. When it starts up with the SKF on the screen and that white circle coming, that's when you've actually shut this unit down. So I'm going to show you what it takes to shut this unit down. Now you'll see the screen go black when I hold this power button in. This is somewhere in that 8 to 10 second range. But what we're going to look for is a little white flash. So I'm going to hold this power button in. The screen's going to go black, and you're going to see me still hold this power button in, and then you'll see the screen flash, right? When that screen flashes, that is when it is completely shut down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Press the power button in and show you what happens, right? Holding the power button in, it's gone black. Wait for it. Wait for it. There, that. Now it's completely done. Release that power button. Now this unit is shut off, right? Now quickly watch, when I just touch the power button again, right? This unit is shut off currently, but when I touch the power button, it goes to that white screen like that. And that screen there. Now we know that that unit had been powered completely off. If you power it on and you see that SKF home screen, you know that the unit was only put on standby or sleep mode. So it's going to continue to use the battery in that sleep mode. So you'll want to make sure that you power it off the same way I just showed you how to do it, right? Wait for the black screen, still hold that power button in, and wait for that little white flash, right? Here we are back at the home screen. So I'm going to hold that button in one more time. Screen's going to go black, and now we wait for that white flash, or the flash of the screen. There. Now it's completely shut down. All right, so now Joe and I are going to show you how to, mainly Joe more than me, show you how to use this TKSA 31 wired alignment unit, right? So unlike the other units, the TKSA 31 is a wired unit only. So Joe, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So again, as Jim said, we're going to go ahead and go through the alignment process with a TKSA 31. And as Jim mentioned earlier, the TKSA 31, unlike the 41 and the 51 and the 71, is not wireless. It's not Bluetooth. So this is going to have cables with it. And there are some, I have some customers, I've had some customers over the years that prefer the cables because they can't have Bluetooth for whatever reason. So functionality between the TKSA 31 and the TKSA 41 is pretty much the same, with the exception the 31 is not wireless, it uses cables. So with that, we'll go ahead, and as you can see, Jim has the display unit turned on, and I'm going to go ahead and mount my my lasers and my brackets and kind of walk you through that whole process. And just like the TKSA 41, if you follow the procedure on the display unit, you walk through everything. It's pretty hard to make a mistake, and it's going to tell you when you're doing something wrong. So if we look at our brackets, okay, we have a bracket. I've already, I'm going to go ahead and take this chain out, but if we look at the bracket, you can see we have an S for stationary machine. So again, this is going to go on our stationary side on this demo rig. You can also see that we have two different slots here. So we have this little post that slides in. If I was doing a large shaft, okay, I would go ahead and I would put it on this outboard post for a bigger shaft. Since we got a small shaft here, I'm going to go ahead and put this inboard to accommodate the smaller shaft. Then I'm going to go ahead and I have to get this. I'm just going to kind of hold this here and use gravity to help me. And the same thing, I'm going to slide this in the inboard position here. And then if you look, okay, you can see that I have a post here that I'm going to slide this chain over until I get to I get it as tight as I can. Go ahead and slide it over the chain over the post, okay? And then I have this thumb screw on the side here, on the other side, that I can go ahead and tighten up so I can get this mounted on the shaft nice and tight. The other part of it is all of the units come with a little rod, and if you look in the sides of the thumb screws, we have little holes for the rod, so that enables us to go ahead and get this nice and tight. So we make sure it's not going to move around on us. And again, as I always mention with any of these units, I'll probably mention this a couple more times, we do not, under any circumstances, when we start to do alignment, we don't want to move anything with these brackets. We don't want to move the shaft with the brackets.
I was just noticing that when you were showing, they really can't see the rod. They can't see this hole.
Okay,
so
very good.
These holes in the OD side, the side face of this nut, is what he's inserting that rod into.
Yep.
So that's how he's tightening it. He's using that as basically a little torque bar to finish tightening these this chain up.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and repeat that same process for the movable machine in this case. Okay. Again, same thing. We've got the little, I'm just going to turn this kind of upside down to take advantage of gravity here to slide this internally to the inside. Then we bring it up and we just pull it as tight as we can over the post, and then I'm just going to try to get these kind of spaced out about the same. And get them lined up as close as I can. It looks pretty good. Again, I'm taking my bar again, and you can't see this on the other side, but Jim already showed it to you. And I'll go ahead and get this thumb screw nice and tight with my little bar or rod here. All right, we got them on. Okay, so now we have both of our brackets for our stationary and our movable machine mounted on the shafts. And remember I said earlier, since this one isn't wireless, we got to plug our cables in so we have power to these lasers. So
I'm going to go ahead here.
Jim's plugging in the USB, and then I'm going to plug this into the micro USB on the laser. You have to walk around here.
You'll notice here on the top right of the screen, right, you'll see the stationary and movable, and it's not identifying anything yet at all because neither one of them are plugged in. Now that laser is turned on, so the movable is now powering up. Yep. Also on cables, right? be cognizant of how you pull them out and push them in, right? You want to make sure you're not using the cord, just like the power cords for these. Treat them like glass, right? You don't want to ever pull the cable to pull these out, right? You don't ever want to take this and jerk this out and pull this out by the cable, right? You want to grasp it by the actual rubber boot of itself and pull it out. Same thing on the unit itself, on these units, right? You'll want to use these boots, the socket itself, to pull this out, not the cord. Because these units don't do anything at all without these micro USB to USB cords.
Yep, very good. Thanks, Jim. And as you can see, once we turn these up and powered these up, you can see that we have, you can see where the lasers are hitting the targets. There's actually a red hash mark on both of these. So
I'm going to bring this just real quick over here so they can see that. I think they can, yeah, right there we can kind of see the laser on that side.
Yep.
And I'm going to roll this around over here just so they can see the laser on that side face. Bear with me here 1 second. Right there's the laser hitting that side face from the other laser there. So
yep. And again, we want to, there's red hash marks here. We want to try to get these lasers on both as close to the hash marks as possible. And these can be adjusted up and down, but then there's a fine adjustment on top of this, which I just used to get that pretty much they're both centered on the hash marks. And that just gives us maximum, we take maximum advantage of the capabilities of the laser depending on how far we're out. So now, as you can see, our new alignment, whoops, let me go back here. You can see it's lit up. It was gray before. Until these lasers got powered up, it was gray. We couldn't do anything, but now we can go ahead and do a new alignment. So the first thing we need to do, as with any of these lasers, we have our little tape measure here, and we're going to go ahead and take some basic measurements of the distances we need. The first measurement we need to take is the A dimension. That's the distance between the centers of the two lasers.
So to input that data, right, to input that measurement, let me slide this up here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit A.
And that's 6 3/4.
6.75. And hit next.
Yep. And then the next measurement we want to take is between the center of the coupling and the center of the chain. So I can kind of see that from over here, and that's 3.5 inches.
Nice. So 3.50, and then we're going to hit next.
Yep. Then the next measurement we want to take is from the center of the chain on the movable machine to the center of the front foot. So that is 2 inches.
Yeah, so just to, you input that just to say, we're basically taking the measurement from this chain here to the center of this front post here. So that's the measurement we just input. Yep. And then last measure is 3 1/4. Right?
Yeah, 3, and it's actually 3.5.
Oh, is it
no,
3.5?
no, it's 3 1/4. Okay. I'm sorry. It's 3 1/4
right,
from
so
the center. It's from the center of the front and the back feet, and that's 3.5 inches.
All right, and next.
Next. So then the next thing we do is we select our speed range. All of the tolerances are, there's very conservative standard alignment tolerances built into these units, and we have ranges. So we'll say this is running at 1800 RPM. So between 0 and 2000 RPM, it's range 1. So if Jim hits range 1, okay, we got that. So we selected our speed, because the higher the speed, the tighter the alignment tolerances are. So you want to make sure you enter that. There's also room at the bottom to put in custom tolerances. You have kind of a specialized piece of equipment that a manufacturer supplies specific tolerances for. You can go ahead and put those in, but if not, it kind of defaults to using the different ranges, which again are very, very conservative. And as long as you use those tolerances, you're never going to get in any trouble from an alignment perspective if you're within tolerance. So then we can go ahead and hit, we're always using the right arrow key. So now we're going to go ahead. It's asking us to check soft foot, and that's something we absolutely always want to check. Soft foot basically is if you have a chair or a table, one leg shorter than the other, you're on an uneven surface, you get that rocking motion. You can have that with a piece of equipment too. And this laser will go ahead and take care of that for you, and it'll walk you right through it. So This happens to be set on, so this is set on in automatic mode. So as you saw on the screen, there's a couple different ways we can do this. We can take measurements automatically, and that's all in the settings function on the screen. And what it'll do is, and I'll show you when we start going through the alignment how that works, but this is set up in automatic mode, which is kind of neat and pretty quick too. So we're looking down on it now. When we check soft foot, we're looking down on the, we're saying this is an electric motor, this silver post, and it's telling us F1, which is the front foot over here. We want to go ahead. It's telling us exactly what to do. Loosen up the bolt, okay? Hit OK. Go ahead and tighten it up. Hit OK. And so what's going to happen? See that green check mark? Whenever you see a green check mark, you know you're good. If you look at the bottom, it says the tolerance is 2 thousandths. So basically, with soft foot, as long as it's under 2 thousandths, we're actually good. So we don't need to worry about it. So it moved on to the next foot, which is the back foot on that side. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up. Jim's going to hit the OK. And then it's going to tell me to tighten it back up. Jim's going to hit OK again. And we're good there. Okay. So then we go to the next foot. Over here, the front foot on the other side. Loosen that up. Jim's going to hit OK. We'll tighten that up. We're going to hit OK again. That's good. Then we go to the final foot and back here. We're going to loosen that up. Jim's going to hit OK. I'm going to tighten it up. He's going to hit OK again. And we're good to go. So everything was within tolerance on the soft foot, so we're good. And we can go ahead and move on in the alignment.
Okay, so when you get to this screen here, what step 1 and step 2 is basically showing here. Step 1 is if one of these positions was out of tolerance. Remember, our tolerance here is 2 mil or 2 thousandths. So if, say, this right rear foot here, R1, was 5 thousandths out, right, that showed a negative 5 thousandths, we could actually put a 5 thousandths blade in there, right? So this is saying go ahead and shim all your positions that need to be fixed, right? Shim all your positions that need to be fixed, and then recheck. So you could, if R1 here needed 5 thousandths, we could put 5 thousandths under the R1 foot back here, right? 5 thousandths blade underneath there, tighten it back down, and then we can recheck. And so what this is rechecking soft foot again. Now I've already done that, so I'm going to page through this. And go ahead and hit next. Now it's going to ask you, do you want to check again? You can see I'm all zeros here, so there's no need to check again. So I'm going to go ahead and hit no.
Okay, so we took care of our soft foot. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to proceed with the alignment. And we're doing the vertical alignment. Well, we're actually going to check our alignment, then we'll go to taking care of our vertical, then our horizontal. So it's telling me exactly what it wants me to do. It's telling me I need to move my lasers 90 degrees to the 9 o'clock position. And you'll notice you've got that blue window, but when it turns green and I stop, it automatically goes ahead.
No, wait, we get some backlash, look.
Yep. Takes a reading.
Okay, and you'll also notice the timer counting down for the automatic readings.
Okay, so it got that reading. Now it's going to tell me where to take it next. It's telling me to take it to the 12 o'clock position.
Now, if you remember on the 41 demo, or if you haven't seen it yet on the 41 demo, it doesn't have the countdown. It'll have a little arrow down here that we have to actually hit next on to take the reading.
Yep.
But here it's taking the reading for us automatically.
Yeah.
So if you're doing this by yourself, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of nice. And what happens, you can do it one of two ways. It's all in the settings. You can turn on the automatic mode, or you can leave it on the manual mode and actually just press when it turns blue, the arrow, and it'll take the reading. But if it's set in the auto mode, once you turn it to the position it's telling you to turn it to, you're shooting for that blue wedge. When it turns green and you stop, it's automatically going to take the measurement.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and turn it another 90 degrees till we hit green there, and you can see it's going ahead and it's taking the reading. Okay. And measurement in progress. And that's going to tell me exactly where I'm at. So if we look at the right hand, the right of the screen, it's showing me where I'm at, both angular misalignment and offset alignment, horizontal, and it's showing me angular and offset misalignment, vertical, and that's at the coupling. That's what we care about. And we'll get to, in a minute here, it'll show us what adjustments we need to do at the feet. But whenever you see a green check mark, like if we look at the top at horizontal, it's telling us that we're actually within tolerance angular, horizontal. We're getting close. The squiggly lines mean you're not there yet, but you're getting close. But vertical, we need to make adjustments. Okay, so we need to take care of that first. We're out. We got red X's. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and hit our right blue arrow. And it's going to tell us to turn the lasers, because we're doing vertical, either to the 12 o'clock or the 6 o'clock position. And again, you only need to swing this 180 degrees, just like the TKSA 41. So if you're obstructed at the 12 o'clock position, you could turn it down to the 6 o'clock position to go ahead and take care of this. You got an option.
So our initial checks were automatic, but now this one we've got the blue arrow.
Yeah,
right?
you're back to the blue arrow.
So we're back to the blue arrow. So our first three readings, you know, at 3, 12, and 9 or whatever, right? Those were done automatically, but now we're back to manual.
Yeah, we're
readings.
back to the manual mode, and that's just basically taking the measurements.
And what we're saying by manual is you'll see the little blue arrow box down here, right? This is saying, hey, we've got to go ahead and select next to take that reading. So I'll go ahead and do that.
Yep. And you might have seen the little measurements where it said 2.8 and 1 point whatever degrees. These have internal gyroscopes in them. You know, the old ones used to have spirit levels, so it's doing it all automatically, and it's just kind of showing you where it's at. Main thing you need to remember, if it's green, you're where you need to be and you're okay.
You know, if it's red, like these, you're not.
Yep. So it's telling us we need to come up 8.6 in front and 1.8, and that's thousandths, remember, or mils. So we're going to have to put, in this case, I could put 8 or 9 thousandths shims in front, which I don't have. I got an 8, I got a 10. I'm going to go ahead and just put an 8 in front, and 1.8 in back, that would be 2. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that.
Here's 8s right here.
Okay.
Also, it's important to have a wide assortment of shims, right? You can never have every, well, I'm sure you could have if you spend enough money, you could have every shim thickness there is, but we've got a shim kit over there that's pretty good, and it still lacks a lot of the shims that you might need for your particular alignment. And these are live readings, so as he's changing and adding the shims, you'll notice that these numbers are going to change, right? So you always want to let this thing set. Once he torques back movable end bolts on this, right? You'll let that set for you know, a handful of seconds to stabilize and let those lasers read each other.
So I'm getting borderline. I mean, I got closer. I'm borderline at my offset misalignment, but my angular's off 1.7. I'm going to take some of the shims out of the back here. And again, we got closer. Let's go ahead and make another little adjustment here. Now let's tighten this up.
Yeah, let's see what we get there.
It's getting, yeah. Okay, there we go, see. All right, so I went ahead and took out the appropriate shims in back. I tightened it back down. There we go. We got the green check marks. You're going to see these red arrows. How much you'd have to be absolutely perfect, how much you'd have to be to come down. However, we're within 2 10,000ths angular, vertical, and 7 10,000ths parallel or offset. And what I'm going to tell you is, if you try to get this absolutely perfect, you're going to be chasing your tail a lot, and you're never going to get there. So once we get the green check marks on the right side, we're there. We're within tolerance, and we need to move on. So we got the vertical. I'm going to go ahead and hit the right blue arrow key again, and that's telling me, okay, go ahead and turn that 90 degrees.
And you could go, because the arrow was showing you either direction, right? It was 90 degrees either way.
Yep.
So whatever way you could go, right?
Yep.
All right, so there, we'll go ahead and take that reading.
Yep. Then it's going to show me what I need to do. Okay. Now that was just pure luck on my part. I'm actually within tolerance horizontally too.
Oh wow! Yeah, that was
so
lucky.
I just lucked out on it. Usually you got to move it around a little bit, and I'll just show you something here because it's real easy to do.
Well, it's actually on the what he's looking at is there's jack bolts, and I'm going to come around the other side of this camera here.
Yep.
So we have jack bolts here, here, and right. We have them on all four corners of the movable machine, and jack bolts make that movement a lot easier than a hammer. Right, hammering it or trying to move it by hand is almost impossible. So even on larger equipment, right, larger motors and what have you, you'll see as he's using those jack bolts to slowly move that back and forth. That these figures, these are again live readings, right? So you can see the adjustment.
I got it even closer.
Yeah, so you took out about half of what was in there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
and we're within tolerance there, so that's good. So now we go ahead, move on. And you always want to remeasure your alignment. You see the screen prompts you, remeasure alignment? Yes, absolutely. Let's go ahead and double check our work here because we've been moving stuff around. And I'm going to go ahead and take the readings. And this is going to do it automatically again.
yeah, I was going to ask you if it was going to do it automatically.
Yep, yep.
Oh, there we go. 3, 2, and 1. Nice automatic reading.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
The top.
The automatic, I can definitely see a benefit to that.
It is, especially when you're by yourself.
Yep.
You know?
Or you get big fat fingers.
Yep, exactly.
You hit the wrong part of the screen.
Yep.
There we got a little lash there going on. There we go.
You saw the radio?
Oh, there it was again.
Let's see.
Started over. You'll notice it started over again the minute it detected that. Here it is again.
Yep. And that's just what happens if
there's any type of binding in that coupling.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to sense if you got some wind up in the coupling or they're not positioned. So we ended up, the vertical's borderline just because we moved this a little bit horizontally, but we're really, really, really close. And, you know, we could go ahead and redo it again.
Yeah, because I see here we're not out of tolerance, but we're very close, right? That's what it's basically saying.
You always want to try to get the green check marks. But for the sake of, you know, because if we redo the vertical, we're going to have to redo the horizontal again. And, you know, for the sake of time. But the main point is, you can see how simple this thing is, how it works. And again, it's live. Now, what you want to do is you go to the machine's not aligned, continue, yes. That's just because we had those squiggly lines on the one. And then the last thing you want to do is you always want to save your alignment record. So if we look at this, we can go ahead and enter a machine ID. I don't know, Jim, if you would have.
Yeah, I'll
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and.
And for a lot of you that have seen the demo on the TKSA 41, it's functionally the same.
And every time, like you'll notice a second ago, when I went from the machinery ID, I was just trying to click onto the report name box here or section. You can't do that. You have to come down to the bottom of the screen, minimize the keyboard, and then you can come into that section and touch it, right? And then it'll pop back up. So you have to go there, and then the operator, you can actually back that out. All right, and you can put Joe. Joe. Minimize the keyboard. If you had any other comments in here, you can put those in there. Minimize the keyboard again, and then hit next.
Yep. There it is. So
there's our report.
If we go back and we go to the machine library,
there it is right there.
There it is right there, and we pull it up.
So these are other reports, right? So here's this one. Go ahead and hit this bottom right here is to view that.
Yep. And then you just click on that file, and it'll come up, and it'll actually have.
There you go.
There it is. See, it's got everything from your alignment, all your measurements, where everything ended up, and again, we were just out just a hair here. We were getting pretty pretty close. And as found, you can see we're really screwed up before we did the alignment. So it's all there. You know, it's pretty slick. And this will save like 5,000 alignments. You can also put a USB in back if you want to save it on a memory stick, a PDF. Then you can print it out, do whatever you want to it, send it to whoever you want to. So again, it's a very simple tool, very accurate, accommodates for most facilities. It'll accommodate most of the alignments they have.
To get out of this screen, to get back out to the main screen, hit the SKF logo top left, right, and go ahead and hit quit, and this brings you back out to the main screen. So if you needed to do another alignment, what have you, or if you needed to export this report, you would basically have to pull out one of these sensor USBs, or actually probably both of them, right, input your USB memory stick, right, plug that in, go to report and export that. We've got that on the 41 video as well. That is it. Again, appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you.
I hope you found the video useful. Again, apologize for the length of time, but we wanted to put as much detail into this video as possible and answer as many questions about this product as we possibly could. Special thanks again to Joe Esmore for his help creating the video. If we did not answer all your questions at the end of this video, I'll have some contact information, so please contact us and we'll answer questions you have. But most importantly, thank you for your business.